Is it possible that Kate, with her medical background, might have wanted to help Madeleine to go to sleep that night?
Not at all.
Even out of kindness, she certainly
Not
wouldn't
even
have
out
given.
of kindness. I think they may have used cowpole like most mothers do. Nothing.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear thoughts build up until I can't hear. My mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear the thoughts build up until.
Hello and a warm welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. That was the voice of Madeleine's granddad, Kate McCann's father, talking on 7 September 2007. I'm going to give you a list of 6 what the ifs in no particular order, and I'd like to see which one you see as the biggest what the if of all in the Madeleine McCann case. Ready? Let's get started. Number 1. The McCanns continued to stay at the Ocean Club for 8 weeks after the abduction. The day after Madeleine disappeared, the McCanns moved from apartment 5A in the Ocean Club to apartment 4G in the Ocean Club. They stayed in 4G until July 3rd, basically for 2 entire months. What's more, they allowed their daily ritual of dropping their younger children off to be photographed by the media during that period. So let's get this straight. You're convinced your child was snatched by someone in an environment that's crawling with predators, and yet you continue to stay at the same hotel in the same area and drop your kids off in the care of other people at the creche facilities that supposedly you didn't trust to begin with. Number 2. Jerry didn't just go to the tapas bar, he went to the USA. If it seemed reckless to leave the kids while going out to dinner, imagine in the aftermath of Madeleine's disappearance, her father, instead of searched for her in the most obvious place, Portugal, Luge, instead of that, he went as far afield as the USA, specifically Washington, D.C., in July to drum up publicity. In June, the McCanns traveled to Amsterdam and Germany. In fact, as early as May, just a few weeks after the incident, both McCanns left the kids in Portugal and flew to Rome to meet the Pope. I mean, wasn't the basic lesson in all of this, irrespective of who did what and how whatever happened, wasn't the lesson to not leave your children? Number 3. The key fob of the McCann's Renault Scenic had cadaver traces on it. Let me say that again. The key fob of the McCann's Renault Scenic had cadaver traces on it. Keela, the dog that could trace human blood, alerted to the key fob of the Renault Scenic, and as it happens, so did Eddie, the cadaver dog. According to the PJ files, a canine inspection occurred at 11 minutes to 4 in the morning on 7 August 2007 by the dog Keela, the one that detects traces of human blood. Incidentally, a month after this is when the McCanns were made suspects. About 4 minutes later at 03:53 or 7 minutes to 4, the dog marked an area of the lower right-hand side of the interior part of the baggage compartment of the car. Then another, 18 minutes later at 4:11, the dog marked the tidy compartment, and that's the map or glove pocket on the side of the driver's door, which was found to contain the car key, the plastic electronic card type, with a key ring of the budget rental company. And the people who saw this thought there might be a mistake, and so in order to confirm this, that the dog had effectively marked the car key that was found in the glove pocket on the side of the driver's door at 04:13, that key was retrieved from the car and concealed in a place far distant from the vehicle on parking level 3 of the underground car park. At 04:14, it was verified that the dog marked the area of a sandbox, which is a bucket of sand, of the fire system where the car key had been concealed beneath the sand. At 04:50, a new inspection was performed by Eddie, that's the cadaver dog, on the parking level number 4, where the above car key was concealed in an area far distant from the vehicle. A minute later, at 04:51, it was verified that the dog marked the area of a sandbox of the fire system where the car key had been concealed beneath the sand. Now, despite what you hear from the apologists who cover this case, people who say that cadaver dogs aren't very accurate, well, they are known to be highly accurate, as high as 97% in some formal scientific studies. If it's true that the dogs accurately alerted to cadaver traces, one can imagine the driver of the vehicle having just handled a cadaver in some way, then immediately handling the keys and thus transferring the scent, handling the cadaver, handling the keys, starting the car, and then driving somewhere. If true, it's ironic that likely everything in this story was made harder for the dogs to find a scent on. The interior of the vehicle, the apartment, the toy, clothing, but perhaps the one thing no one thought to wash was the key. Number 4, we can find Madeleine with this. The McCanns are supposed to be scientifically minded people. Can we agree on that? A doctor is a member of a scientific profession. You may be too ignorant to know where the science starts and stops when it comes to cadaver dogs. You might say, well, that part I'm not very clear about. You may also be unclear about the science of cadaver odor. But even Kate admits she was mad, those are her words, mad to hire someone who claimed that he could find Madeleine using a strand of her hair. First of all, he didn't find Madeleine. Second, I think the fact that the McCanns trusted this level of crackpot science, and by the way, the word crackpot appears in the book Madeleine, written by Kate McCann, referring to this particular aspect. And so in the same way that we're dealing with some really ludicrous aspects, where you've got intelligent doctors coming to some very silly reasoning, right? For example, their checking system is ludicrous. Then you have this level of ludicrousness as well. You also have the Tanner sighting that ends up being ludicrous as well. A man without a face. A man who, like Donkey in the Shrek movies, jumps up and down saying, me, pick me, to someone who said, the Tanner man was me. The person that you think you saw was me. And it took 5 years to realize that this guy jumping up and down was Dr. Julian Totman. How absurd is that? In terms of what I refer to in a bit of a tongue-in-cheek way as Spock's tricorder, this box of tricks that's supposed to be able to do anything, the McCanns rationalized the idiocy surrounding this by saying, quote, desperation does strange things to people. She says herself, we're scientists and we don't believe in hocus pocus or crackpot inventions, end quote. Well, except in this one. Number 5, Maddie cash used for mortgage. As early as October 30th, 2007, less than 2 months after they were first made arguidos in Portugal, the media claimed the McCanns were using funds raised to search for Madeleine to pay off their mortgage. According to one article, the couple made two £2,000 repayments on their £460,000 detached house in Rothley, Leicestershire, with fund money. Clarence Mitchell, the McCann spokesman, confirmed the couple made 2 repayments in July and August, but defended their motives. The primary objective of the fund, a not-for-profit company, was to help efforts to find Madeleine, but it can also provide financial support for her parents to cope with stress, he said. Number 6. The group refuses to participate in a police reconstruction. Now, in the previous video, I spoke about how ridiculous that system was, and I polled my own community, and I think 7,000 people voted in that poll. 99% felt that the system that they used was not the ideal system. 99%. Most people by far thought that other systems would be far preferable to the one that they thought was very smart, very clever. But now I want you to imagine this. You mobilize media all around the world, across Europe, in America, obviously in Britain and Portugal as well. You ask everyone to help. You spend £80,000 in an advertising campaign on the Iberian Peninsula and North Africa in September. I think the McCanns even went to Morocco. You hand out flyers to the public. You ask them to search for Madeleine. Yet when the police tasked with the official investigation ask them to help directly, ask them to participate in a reconstruction, they don't. It doesn't happen. This is their reaction.
A question about the police inquiry in Portugal, and just clear up one or two things. And so, have you been asked to go back and take part in a reconstruction, and under what circumstances would you go back?
There is a dialogue, and that's been reported. Clearly, that there's a date out there, and it's under discussion, and no final decision has been made. I have to say that the prospect of going back with the world's media trying to watch a reconstruction doesn't appeal us, and how emotional it is for us to consider that. I think also the other issue is how much more information will that get us 1 year on? You know, we have told everything to the police.
We'll do anything if we believe it will help to find Madeleine, but that's the issue, really.
And you know, our friends have voluntarily taken part in recent interviews in Leicestershire. They've given all the information. They've had lots of opportunity, and you know, our friends stayed in Portugal for 10 days after Madeleine was taken.
So I find it quite ironic. The McCanns turned to the media themselves. The McCanns were responsible for getting the media sort of worked up, and the McCanns have given so many interviews, participated in so many documentaries over the years, and yeah, they're saying that it would be traumatic to take part in a reconstruction. What is traumatic? They found a room that was empty. That's it. That's what was traumatic. They found a room with apparently the window or the curtain fluttering. And you might say, yes, that is very traumatic, but they have participated in countless interviews, but they don't want to be interviewed by the police, or they don't end up being interviewed by the police. And it's interesting, in this interview, just like the one about sedatives, just like the one about Calpol, Jerry touches his face, and he also says something about clearly, and they'll do everything that is necessary. Well, not the thing that is being asked about. Now again, I want you to take a step back and imagine what we're talking about. Imagine mobilizing the entire Ocean Club complex as they did on the night that this occurred, stirring up much of the town of Luge, having locals hand out pamphlets to one another, and eventually making this arguably the most high-profile missing persons case ever in history. You've got everybody looking for your child. You've gone even so far as dressing football players in shirts with this little girl's face in it, getting the who's who in football to refer to the case as an abduction. You're putting her face on the big screen in major stadiums about to play the FA Cup final and the UEFA Cup final, even getting the Pope to lay hands on her photo. And then when it comes to helping the police with a reenactment, when it comes to, okay, we need your help to search for Madeleine. We need your help to help us understand what happened. How did what happened happen? Well, the people at the center of it, they don't show up. The reenactment, at least for law enforcement, just doesn't happen.
Why?
The McCanns travel to the USA to be on Oprah, and they talk about what happened there. They do an interview in Norway, and they talk about what happened there. The Madeleine McCann investigation has cost £13 million. That's about $16.5 million since 2011. Is it the gold standard in how to look for a missing child? Or is it a gold standard in how not to? Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.